Hello students, today we are going to work on Inventor Workalong 19-1. So the object you see here is the object we will create today. So here is our multi-view with all of our numbers and our dimensions that we need to create the object. So in this lesson we are actually going to use offset planes and work planes, and we are actually going to do that twice. All right, let's get started. We are going to start a new sketch, and we are working in inches. So it's the standard .ipt. Click Create, and then make sure that you save your part as Inventor Workalong 19-1. Okay. So we are going to begin on the XZ plane. So start 2D sketch, find your XZ plane, choose that, and then we want to make sure the word top is the right side up where it's TOP from left to right. All right, so let's go ahead and begin our sketch here. So we see here that we are going to go across 4, we will come up 1, and then we will come over 2, up 3, and then we have a fillet here that we will put in before we extrude. Then we will come over another 6, and then we will come down, do a little bit of math, 3 plus 1 is 4. So we will come down 4 here on this back side. All right, so let's start with our line tool. And we will go over 4. Hit enter. We will come up 1. Enter. Go to the right 2. Enter. We will come up 3. Enter. And then we're just going to come all the way across to 6, and then close it off, and then come down 4. All right, once you have that, hit escape. And now we will just go ahead and we're going to fillet this right now before we extrude. So click on fillet. We want to put in 1. We're going to click this area, and you see where we're going to put in that fillet. You see that it comes up with that curve. So click that. And then once you do, you can X out of that, go over to 3D model, extrude, and we will extrude 1. Okay, so this is the beginning of our object. Hopefully this is what everyone has. So now here we are going to put in a circle. This one right here. There we go, that's a better image. So we're going to put this circle in, and then we will do 2 circles, and then we will extrude it. And the extrusion goes all the way through. And then we will work on this back portion here. Okay, so we want to go to Start 2D Sketch. And we need to use our construction tool so that we can find the correct place to put our circle. So if we come down here to our multi-view, we see that we need to come up 1.15, and then we need to come over 1.54. So we can actually come over 1.54 and then up 1.15 to make it a little bit easier. All right, so we're going to go to line, our construction tool, and then we will come over 1.54, hit enter, and then we will come up 1.15. All right, and that is where we are going to begin our circle. So go ahead and hit escape. Make sure you turn off that construction tool. And then we will put in a 1-inch diameter circle right at the top of where we put our construction line. Then we need to extrude it backwards 1. Let's go over to 3D model, extrude, and then we want to flip it and we will extrude it backwards 1. All right, so that's what everyone should have so far. So let's go ahead and do our second circle. 2D sketch. And then select our plane. And then we need to do our construction lines again. If you don't have to, if you're able to lock into this middle portion, then go for it. But for whatever reason, it will not lock for me. So I am going to have to do my construction lines again. So super easy, line, construction. We will come over 1.54, hit enter, and then come up 1.15, hit enter, and now we have our center point. Go ahead and remove the construction tool, hit circle, and then our second circle will be 1.25. All right, and then once you have that, hit enter. And then once you hit enter, we need to put in this circle here at 1 again so that we can close this off. So make sure you type in 1, hit enter, and then escape. And then you should have something that looks like this. So we're going to extrude this middle portion right here between our circles. 3D model, extrude. Make sure it turns that sage green, and we are going to come up 1. Okay, so you should have your base and your circle here that's extruded all the way through, and then you should also have your extrusion that comes up. If not, make sure you pause the video or rewind and go back and make sure that you have what you see here. Okay, so now we are going to work with 2D planes so that we can put in this piece over here. So here we go. Okay, so come up to where your work features are, click on plane, and then we want to select offset from plane. When you do that, we want to offset from this side right here. Click once, left click, and then click and hold your left click, and then we want to drag it backwards. And when we drag it backwards, we want that number that you see right here. That number should be negative 2.25. Then once you have that, hit enter, and then you'll see that you have this tiny little work plane. So what we need to do is we need to grab this corner here. Make sure that you have the double arrow, not the 4 arrow. If you do the 4 arrow, then you're going to actually move it. So make sure that you have the double arrow, and when you do, we're just going to pull up and over. And we're going to do that for both sides. Again, make sure you have the double arrow and not the 4 arrow. Okay, so this is what you should have so far. Okay, so we are going to work on this plane here that we just created. Start 2D sketch. And then make sure you select the work plane that we just created. And when you do, it should turn. And now we are going to make this little square here. So we're going to start off with making that. Okay, so go up and let's select our 2-point rectangle. When you do, we need to right click and make sure that we have auto project turned on. If you do, great. If not, just click that and make sure you have the blue check mark. I'm going to hit escape because mine is already selected. We're going to start over here on this right side, and we're going to put in 0.75, tab 0.75. Hit enter, and then you have your rectangle. Okay, now we are going to extrude our rectangle that we just made. So we will go up to 3D model, extrude, and we want to extrude at 0.75. And then we want to flip it. We want it to go the other direction. When you have that, click OK. And then we will go over to our work plane 1, right click on that, and then click on visibility, and then we will remove that work plane because we are done working on it. Okay, now we need to do this little notch cutout here. So we're going to start a 2D plane, 2D sketch on this surface here. Start 2D sketch, select this surface, and then we will go over to rectangle. We're going to start in this upper right hand corner, and we're just going to come down and over, and we will put in 0.25, tab 0.25. When you have that, hit enter. Then we will go back over to 3D model, extrude, and then we just want to flip it, and it will be 0.75. Click OK, and then you have that little notch removed from your square. Okay, we will do our second work plane. Go under Work Features where we have our plane. Come down to Offset from Plane, and we are going to choose this plane here. So left click once to choose it, and then left click again, hold it, and we're going to drag it backwards. And we want that number to be negative 0.375. Once you have that in there, click OK, and then you should have your work plane here. So again, we are going to take our work plane and we are going to drag out the corners. And we only really need it to be pulled out on this side where we are going to put in our triangle, which is this piece that is right here. Okay, so we are back over on our object that we are creating. All right, so you do want to tilt this down just a little bit here in the front so that we are able to put in that triangle. All right, so to do that, we need to start a 2D sketch, and we're going to work on this new work plane that we just created. Again, tilt it down just a little bit so that you can see to come down this line here and then over and then back up for our triangle. So we are going to go down from the top down, and then we're going to come from the bottom over 0.75, and then we will close it off. So we need our line tool. Zoom this in a little bit so we can see what we are doing. Okay, so we have our line tool. So we're going to start here. We're going to come over to the left, 0.75, hit enter, and then we are going to come up to the top at a 45-degree angle, click, and then come straight back down. When you do, hit escape, and then we will extrude. Okay, so let's go ahead and extrude, 3D model, extrude. Make sure that this is selected. So we are going to actually use the arrow that goes both ways because we want it to come out the front and the back. So we are going to use the third feature, which is symmetric, and we want to type in 0.25, hit enter, go down to your work plane number 2, right click, visibility, and there is your object. You can go ahead and put in a color of your choosing. Under appearance, I'm just going to go ahead and do aluminum. Highlight it, double click, and there is our item. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and let me know if you need any help.